Welcome to Norway Perspectives, NAV. It's just 3 letters, NAV. You see them on buildings in every town. You hear the name mentioned in conversations about politics, work, and family life. For a name so short, it represents something of almost infinite complexity. It is, without exaggeration, the single most comprehensive and intricate public institution you will ever deal with while living in Norway. To think of NAV as just a government office is to miss the point entirely. NAV is the custodian of the entire Norwegian social contract. It is the administrative heart of the welfare state, a system designed to be your silent partner from cradle to grave. It manages the financial joy of parental leave, the uncertainty of unemployment, the challenge of long-term illness, and the security of your final pension. It is, for better or for worse, a part of your life here. Because of this, understanding NAV is not an optional skill. It's a core competency for life in Norway, and I know it can feel overwhelming. The language is formal, the rules are labyrinthine, and the stakes are incredibly high. That's why we're going to do something different today. We are not going to skim the surface. We're going to embark on a deep dive, a comprehensive journey designed to map this territory for you. This will take some time, so settle in. My promise to you is that by the end of our discussion, this 3-letter word will feel less like a mystery and more like a system you can navigate with clarity and confidence. So, where do we begin? We begin with the most important question. Why does NAV exist? And more importantly, how does it think? To interact with any system, you must first understand its internal logic. NAV's logic was born from the ashes of World War II, from a collective Scandinavian ideal that society should provide a safety net for everyone. This led to the creation of the national insurance scheme, the Folketrygden, a universal system covering everyone. NAV, as we know it today, was formed in 2006 by merging the old National Insurance Administration with the Public Employment Service. The goal was to create a single, one-stop shop for welfare and work. The reality, as is often the case with such massive mergers, is a system of immense power but also immense complexity. This system operates on a handful of foundational principles. If you can truly internalize these, you will understand the why behind every form, every question, and every decision. The first and most absolute principle is legality. NAV does not operate on feelings, fairness, or discretion. It operates on law. A benefit is not a gift. It is a legal right that you hold if you meet a precise set of conditions. Imagine 2 people are laid off from the same company on the same day. Person A, through luck of timing, has earned just enough income in the last year to meet the minimum threshold for unemployment benefits. Person B, who started a month later, is just a few thousand kroner short of that same threshold. Person A will receive benefits. Person B will receive nothing. It may feel profoundly unfair, but the NAV advisor has no authority to bend that rule. Their job is to apply the law as written. This is why your single most important task in any application is to provide the evidence that proves you meet those legal conditions. The second principle is self-sufficiency. The ultimate goal of NAV is not to maintain you on benefits, but to help you support yourself, almost always through employment. This is the philosophy of help to help yourself. This means that support is rarely passive. It comes with a legal duty to be active, an aktivitetsplikt. If you are unemployed, you must be actively seeking work. If you are on sick leave, you must actively participate in a plan to return to work. If you are receiving social assistance, you may be required to participate in job training or language courses. Your benefits are conditional on your active engagement. The third principle is its digital-first nature. Norway is one of an increasing number of countries on a path to complete digitalization of its public services. NAV is at the forefront of this. Your national identity number and your electronic ID, your bank ID, are the keys to the kingdom. Applications, communications, and decisions all happen through a secure online portal. A message delivered to your digital mailbox is legally binding. This places a huge responsibility on you to be digitally competent and to check your official digital channels constantly. Finally, there is the principle of disclosure. In Norwegian law, this is your opplysningsplikt, your duty to inform. You are legally required to provide NAV with all information that could be relevant to your case and to immediately report any changes. This is the flip side of NAV's duty to control the system. Your honesty and transparency are assumed, but they are also rigorously verified. With that philosophical framework in place, let's trace the journey of a typical person through their working life and see how this three-letter word, NAV, shows up at every critical juncture. Let's start with something most people will experience: sickness. What happens, step by step, when you are too ill to go to work? On the very first day, your primary duty is to your employer. You must follow their internal procedure for reporting your absence. For the first 3 days, you can typically use a self-declaration. For anything longer, you will need a doctor. Here's where NAV enters the picture. Your doctor will not give you a paper note. They will log into their system and create a digital sick note, a sick melding. This note is automatically sent to NAV's central system. But it doesn't stop there. You will then receive a notification on your phone or computer. You must personally log in to the NAV portal, view the sick note, and digitally click a button to send it to your employer. If you miss this step, your employer is not officially notified, and your sick pay can be delayed. For the first 16 calendar days of your illness, your employer pays your full salary. This is called the employer period. It's designed to give companies an incentive to manage short-term absences and promote a healthy work environment. If you are still sick on day 17, the financial responsibility seamlessly shifts to NAV, which will continue to pay your benefit, calculated at 100% of your income, up to a significant cap. But the process doesn't end there. Remember the principle of self-sufficiency. NAV and your employer will now begin a structured follow-up process. By law, you and your employer must create a follow-up plan together within your first 4 weeks of absence. Before 7 weeks have passed, you must have a formal dialogue meeting. And before you reach 6 months of sick leave, NAV will call you, your employer, and sometimes your doctor into a dialogue meeting to discuss your situation and the path forward. Your participation is not optional. The goal is always to find a way back to work, even if it's in a reduced capacity. If your illness lasts for more than a year, the standard sickness benefit runs out. You would then need to apply for a different long-term benefit called a Work Assessment Allowance, or AAP, which is designed for rehabilitation and has a lower rate of pay and even stricter activity requirements. Now, let's shift to a happier life event: welcoming a child. The parental leave system is a crown jewel of the welfare state, but its generosity is matched by its complexity. The first hurdle is eligibility. To receive paid leave, the parent applying must have been working and earning an income for at least 6 of the last 10 months. This targets the benefit to those who are active in the workforce. The planning stage is everything. When you apply, you are creating a binding plan for the next year of your life. You have a choice between 49 weeks of leave at 100% pay or 59 weeks at 80% pay. The most unique feature is the division of this time. There is a maternal quota, weeks reserved only for the mother. There is a paternal quota, weeks reserved only for the father or co-mother. And there is a shared period. The quotas for each parent are non-transferable. If the father doesn't take his designated weeks, the family loses them entirely. This is where many international couples make mistakes. For a father to take leave from the shared period, or even his own quota in some cases, the mother must be engaged in a qualifying activity. She must be working, taking approved full-time education, or be too sick to care for the child. She cannot simply be at home. We've seen cases where fathers have had their leave application denied because the mother was, for instance, at home taking a part-time online course that wasn't considered a full-time activity by NAV. Every detail must be planned and documented in your application, which should be submitted months before the due date. And what about the most stressful event in a working life, becoming unemployed? The moment you are told you are losing your job, the clock starts ticking. On your very first day of official unemployment, you must do two things online. Register yourself as a job seeker with NAV and begin the application for unemployment benefits. Delaying your registration can reduce the amount of benefits you are entitled to. The eligibility criteria are steep. You must have lost your job involuntarily, and you must meet the minimum prior income requirements we discussed earlier. If you clear those hurdles, your obligations begin immediately. You must become a genuine and active job seeker. This is a legal status, not a casual phrase. It means you must be prepared to document your job-seeking efforts. This includes keeping a log of jobs you apply for, tailoring your CV, and being available to start a new job at short notice. NAV can require you to apply for a job in a different city, and refusing a reasonable offer can lead to a suspension of your benefits. The tool for managing this obligation is the Bi-Weekly Employment Status Card, or Meldecourt. This digital form is your sworn statement to the state. Let's look at it closely. It will ask, how many hours have you worked in the last 14 days? This includes any paid work, freelance work, and even unpaid work for a future company you might be starting. It will ask, have you been sick? If you have, you should be receiving sickness benefits for those days, not unemployment benefits. It will ask, have you been on vacation or outside of Norway? If you have, you are not entitled to benefits for those days because you were not available for work. Every answer has a direct financial consequence. Submitting this card just one day late will result in a deduction from your next payment. It is an unforgiving system that demands absolute precision. But what if you fall through all these nets? What if you don't qualify for unemployment? You've used up your savings, and you are facing a true financial crisis. This is when you must turn to your local NAV office. This is the system's emergency room. The main service here is called Financial Social Assistance. It is critical to understand that this is not an entitlement like the other benefits. It is discretionary emergency aid. To apply, you must completely open up your personal finances to a NAV advisor. You will submit bank statements, a detailed budget of all your income and expenses, your rental contract, and bills for electricity and childcare. The advisor will scrutinize your spending and may suggest ways to cut costs. They will ask if you have any assets you could sell or any family you could ask for help. Only when you have proven that you have exhausted every other conceivable option will they grant temporary assistance. This aid is often given with strict conditions, such as requiring you to attend debt counseling or actively participate in a job-seeking program. It is the final and most demanding safety net. Given the complexity of all these systems, it's inevitable that mistakes will be made, both by applicants and by NAV itself. This brings us to the system of control, repayment, and appeals. NAV's Control and Investigation Unit is a highly sophisticated operation. Think of them as the system's internal auditors. They use powerful software to cross-reference data from different government agencies. They can see the income you reported to the tax administration, the business you registered in the business registry, and the benefits you received from NAV. If these data sets don't align, it raises a red flag. Let's say a red flag is raised on your case. Perhaps you were on sick leave and took a trip abroad without getting it pre-approved. NAV may discover this through airline passenger lists. You would first receive a letter notifying you of a potential discrepancy and asking for your side of the story. This is your chance to explain. If your explanation is not accepted, you will receive a formal decision, a vedtak, concluding that you were overpaid. This will be followed by a repayment demand. NAV is legally obligated to reclaim incorrectly paid funds. They will work with you to create a payment plan, but the debt must be settled. But what if you believe NAV made the mistake? What if your application was denied, but you are certain you met the conditions? You have a powerful legal right to challenge the system. You have the right to appeal. The first step is to submit a written appeal to NAV, clearly stating why you believe their decision is incorrect and providing any new evidence. This appeal is first reviewed by a new caseworker. If they agree with the original decision, your case is not closed. It is automatically forwarded to a separate, independent body, the NAV Appeals Unit. If they also deny your appeal, you have one final option: taking your case to the National Insurance Court, the Trygderetten, which is an impartial court-like body that makes the final binding decision. This is your right as a resident. So, after this long and detailed journey, let us return to where we began. NAV, a three-letter word. It is not an adversary to be feared, but a complex reality to be mastered. It is a system that embodies a profound social promise, but one that demands your active and informed participation. It asks for your diligence, your honesty, and your willingness to learn its intricate rules. Navigating this system is a skill. It's a form of modern civic literacy. For many, it's a journey best not taken alone. For particularly complex cases, a difficult appeal, a complicated work history, a dispute over eligibility, seeking professional guidance from advisory services or lawyers who specialize in Norwegian social security law can be invaluable. It can mean the difference between a successful application and a denial. Ultimately, the power to navigate this system successfully lies in knowledge. By understanding its philosophy, by respecting its rules, and by diligently fulfilling your responsibilities, you are doing more than just dealing with a government agency. You are claiming your rightful place within the Norwegian social contract, ensuring your security, and empowering yourself to build a stable and prosperous life in your new home.